Greetings, humans of the internet. Welcome once again to Bowtie Talks. I, of course, am your excellent host, Luke Johnson, coming to you with some more historical facts. Historic facts, that is. However, today's episode is somewhat unique and therefore calls for a different kind of introduction. Now, as you should well know by now, I pride myself on giving factual information. However, today, rather than giving something that is true, I give you something that might be true. I've always been fascinated by true crime and the areas where true crime and history interconnect. And today, this is such a case, and I'm going over something that is so big, I need a co-host, and that, of course, would be none other than my sister, Carly Davis.
Hello, everyone. Hello, people of the internet. I
Today,
think the
we are done.
introduction should have been your favorite sibling and the first guest on this wonderful podcast, and I am happy to be here.
You're my guest host.
I'm so happy to be here.
Well, anyway, so yes, we are diving in today into something that might be true. Now, I don't know how many of you out there are familiar with the realm of bank robbery,
Hopefully not a lot.
we're giving a story of a theory of one of the most famous bank robbers of the 1930s, John Dillinger. And specifically
the theory of, was he the man killed at the
of
theater
survival.
that Chicago night?
Exactly. However, before we can do that, we should probably give a brief traditional historic account of the life of John Herbert Dillinger.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go over it, or should I?
Yeah, my notes kind of start at when he was 3 years old and his mother died.
Yes, we should probably start with
Right,
that.
when he was born.
Yes, that is correct. He was born on June 22nd, 1903 in Indianapolis, Indiana. And he was the younger of two children born to John W. Dillinger and his wife, Molly. And as my sister said, yes, his mother died when he was only 3 years old. It was a difficult childhood because he had a father who would beat him severely, and then at the same time afterwards become so forlorn about it, he would give his son money.
At the very beginning, I was a little bit confused before I really dove into his story. That his first robbery was a grocery store owner.
Yes, that's right. That's what.
And so, and his dad was also a grocery store owner.
That's right.
So I was a little confused there, but then I dug into the abuse, and after he remarried, that is John Dillinger's father, after he remarried.
Yes.
It made a little bit more sense.
That's right. And yes, he did take up bank robbery. Well, not bank robbery, grocery store robbery fairly early, and that's what got him sent to the Indiana State Reformatory.
Right. Before we get there, he was in the Navy. He joined the Navy.
Yes, as a way to get out of jail time. Yes.
And then I guess there was some like kind of conflicting reports on if he was dishonorably discharged or if he deserted or exactly what happened there. But it did seem like when they were docked, he would like leave and not really tell anyone where he was going and then just disappear.
That's right.
So to me, it seems like, a dishonorable discharge. But I guess, yeah, let's start at when he was 21 years old in 1924, he was sent to the Pendleton Reformatory.
That's right.
For the mugging of the grocery store owner. Who was his accomplice there? I forget.
That I don't remember.
But his accomplice pled not guilty, and his dad convinced him to go ahead and plead guilty because he thought he would get less jail time. But the judge kind of threw the book at him.
That's right. And this was sadly at a time when prisons were focused more on punishment than recuperation.
Right. But, so he got, what, a 12-year sentence, I think?
Yeah, 12 years. That sounds about right.
But he escaped in less than a month.
He was a very athletic young man, which is a lot of people don't really seem to realize. He was very athletic. He was an avid baseball fan.
Yeah, and a great baseball player.
Yes.
That kind of feeds into.
He played for the prison baseball team. Yes.
Yes, and that's yeah. I read that he made 4 more attempts to escape just within the first year of being there.
That's right.
And he made good friends with his 2 members that would eventually join the Dillinger gang, Harry Pierpont and Homer Van Meter.
Yep, handsome Harry
and Harry was very handsome. I would like to say that.
Yes, yes. Well, so was John. John Dillinger was known
He
for being a pretty
was.
good looking
He was.
man.
I told you. I think he kind of looks like Clark Gable.
Yes,
But Van Meter and Pierpont were shipped to the Indiana State Prison, I believe. Right?
that's right.
And John Dillinger was on the so he was like, you know what, I'm gonna calm down, I'm gonna just do my time, whatever, when he was up for parole. But he went up for parole and they said, no, like you have to finish your time out, right? But at one point, the governor of Indiana had come and watched the prisoners play baseball, and he saw what a good baseball player Dillinger was, which kind of goes into the heart stuff that we're going to get into.
Yes,
And once Dillinger's parole was denied, he lied and said that he wanted to go to Indiana State Prison because they had a better baseball team. But really, he was just trying to trick. And even the governor, saw how good he was and like advocated for him to go to the Indiana State Prison. But Dillinger was just playing the long game. He just wanted to get back with Pierpont and Van Meter.
that's right.
So he gets there in what? I think 1929, 1930.
Yeah, something around the at the beginning of the Depression years. Yes,
And once he gets there is when like the Dillinger gang, I mean, really starts up.
that's right.
They meet once he gets there, he meets the the guy who used to run around with Lamb, the father of the bank robbery.
Uh, that the name's up the
Dietrich, I
top.
think.
Yeah, that's right. Dietrich. Yes, William Dietrich.
Yes. And then he joins the gang. And he had worked under Lamb, who was the father of the bank robbery, like having the getaway car, all that good stuff.
That's right. Herman Lamb. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Um, he got paroled in May of 1933, and so we know that he likes to rob things and he likes money, right? He gets
Yes.
out, and all of the sudden, the the Great Depression is in full swing, and he realizes that public enemy number one at that time were the banks. People were mad at the banks. So he saw all of these bank robbers, Babyface Nelson, they were all celebrities. The mob was really hot and heavy in the 30s like that. And they were
Yes. Yes.
all celebrities. And
Yes. And
so,
we'll get into the mob thing later when we talk about what happened in
right.
Wisconsin.
And he loved the fame.
Yes, he did.
So I guess you want to talk about when he breaks his friends out of the Indiana State Prison?
Yes. Yeah. I forgot what they disguised himself as. But yeah, they sprung the prison. He gave them overcoats to disguise what the prison uniforms. Yes.
Um, but then he gets arrested again while visiting a girlfriend in Ohio.
Was that Billy?
Maybe I don't have her quite written down yet. He had already been married and then served with divorce papers at this point.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, I think that might have been Billy. So then in October of 1933, he's in the Lima jail in Ohio, and his friends the Dillinger gang come, and they tell the sheriff that they are there to transport him back to Indiana. And when the sheriff asks for, or maybe it was the warden, when one of them asks for their credentials, they kill him.
That's right.
So that was the first time that John Dillinger had blood on his hands. But he breaks out. I guess we should touch on the fact that the FBI is new at this point.
Yeah, very, very green, very green. And the funny thing, most of them didn't even have a background in law enforcement.
Exactly. And I think 1908 is when they kind of came together, but they had just recently in the 30s been authorized to like make arrests and carry
That was
weapons.
the first time they were officially recognized as the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Right, right. And they really, really, they were being embarrassed before by Babyface Nelson and then John Dillinger.
And then the two of them joined forces.
Exactly. They just couldn't keep him in jail. So after he breaks out of Lima, he goes in East Chicago. He goes to East Chicago and there's a bank robbery there. The bank VP sends a silent alarm to police, And John Dillinger takes the VP and a cop hostage. This is the first or the second time, I guess, that John has blood on his hands when he kills police officer O'Malley. But there was a question if this was even John Dillinger, because the MO of what happened there didn't really fit him. And he, as I said, this was the first time that he, really had blood on his hands. He really wasn't violent like that. He, would threaten them, but he didn't usually shoot.
That's people. Right.
They would call him the Jackrabbit though, because he would just jump right up on.
Yeah, he would jump over the guard bars of the
right
on the teller's section.
Right.
And it should be noted that it is around this time that he formed what is probably the most famous incarnation of the Dillinger mob.
Right.
Three Finger Jack Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Homer Van Meter.
That's who was at this robbery.
Yeah, that's right. Three Finger Jack Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Homer Van Meter, and was Babyface in at that time?
No, not yet.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But yes, and
continue. Yep. So there, like I said, this MO didn't quite fit Dillinger, and there are some conflicting reports that he wasn't even there, that he was in Florida with Billy.
Billy Frechette, yeah, the half
Frechette, yeah.
But half Native American, yes.
He was so famous that maybe they just wanted, like, if something would get robbed, it was kind of cool to be like, oh, John Dillinger robbed me,
Yes.
But nevertheless, he was again just embarrassing the FBI. So in January of 1934, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, 1934. He's arrested and sent back to Indiana.
Crown Point jail.
He's charged with killing O'Malley. Sent to Crown Point. And you want to talk about what happens at Crown Point?
Yes. It's actually one of my favorite stories about the 1930s bank robberies. He was able to get out by carving a fake gun. Was it out of wood or soap?
Wood.
Out of wood. He pointed it at one of the guards, and there was a black man there too. Youngblood, I think. I can't remember the first name.
That's his name.
Yeah, Youngblood. Yes. What was that?
Herbert
Youngblood. That's right. Yes, Herbert Youngblood. They both got out in holding the guard hostage into a stolen car.
Mm-hmm. He made the gun. He dyed it with shoe polish.
Shoe polish. That's right. Yeah, shoe polish.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, after he breaks out yet again, Chicago, Indiana, and the FBI have all created their own forces just to get John Dillinger and his gang. This is where Purvis comes in.
Yep. Melvin H. Purvis.
He was assigned directly by famous J. Edgar Hoover to hunt down Dillinger at all costs. It's claimed that the FBI spent more hunting down Dillinger than Dillinger ever stole. But what price can you put on, embarrassing the federal government, right?
Well, but the funny thing is, J. Edgar Hoover was insane.
Yeah.
That man would. That's putting it politely.
Right. This was so during a robbery in Iowa. He was shot in the shoulder, and they go to Little Bohemia in Wisconsin. That little
hotel and lodge and restaurant in northern Wisconsin. Yes.
Are they still open?
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, you can actually see the rooms where the FBI wasted the real estate. Some of the trees even still have trees even still have bullet holes.
Oh my goodness, we should go there sometime.
Yes. But anyway, yes, back to what happened.
Yeah, so the lodge owner's wife recognizes Dillinger and calls the authorities, who get in touch with Purvis. Purvis's agents, they all come up there, and this is when the third kind of bloodshed of the Dillinger saga is is made, this accident, the agents were talking, or they told someone in a car in the parking lot to like turn on the radio or identify themselves, and when the person didn't because they couldn't hear them, they shot him, and it was just someone that was on vacation. It was just.
And then they also kill 3 WPA workers.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But in the chaos of all of that, John Dillinger gets away yet again. In June of 1934, Dillinger gets plastic surgery. He wanted to get some moles removed. He wanted to fill in. He had like a really pronounced cleft chin.
Yeah, right in the center of his chin. Yes.
Yeah, and he wanted to get that removed. He wanted to increase the size of his nose, and he wanted to remove his fingerprints, or at least like try to, with acid, try to change his fingerprints, because that was kind of the only thing back then that they had, like, to identify you. We didn't have DNA back then. And then it is claimed that with his new face, so there's 2 claims. There's claims that the plastic surgery just didn't work. There's claims that it worked so well that he started operating under the name Jimmy Lawrence. That same month, and go ahead.
Well, it was about this. We could probably point out that his girlfriend got arrested around this time, but he found more other companionship.
Right. Billy gets arrested.
And Billy got arrested, and then what about the next girlfriend?
Yeah, Polly
Hamilton, yes.
Yeah, so Billy gets arrested so this is another time that John Dillinger got away from the FBI and the authorities. They had gone to see about renting an apartment, and Billy goes into the bar to meet with the guy, and while she's in there and John's waiting in the car, she is arrested. And while she is, this kind of gets into the theory. Let me finish this up.
Yes.
So in the summer of 1934, he's operating as Jimmy Lawrence. He starts dating Polly Hamilton, and they move to Chicago. When Billy is arrested, she has a photo in her wallet of her, very young, with a man that she used to date. And this man bears a striking resemblance to John Dillinger, but they didn't, know each other back when they were young. This guy was her ex-boyfriend named
Jimmy Lawrence.
So back to Polly, I guess. They move to Chicago, and they become friends with a prostitute.
A brothel madam, yes, a madam,
brothel madam from Romania. And she owns a bar. Her name's Anna Sage. She was about to be deported, okay? And so she sees Polly come in with this man that she believes is John Dillinger. So she calls the authorities, and tries to use it with the FBI to stay her deportation if she could set up John Dillinger. So this lady already has an ulterior motive, right?
Yes.
She contacts the Chicago PD, and they put her in touch with Melvin Purvis, and she meets with him for the first time on July 19th of 1934. Just to sidetrack real quick, as I was looking up everyone in the Dillinger gang, they pretty much all die in 1934.
Yep, yes, and I think Dillinger was the first to go. Well, actually, no, that was Jack Hamilton was the first to go. That's right.
Yeah. But I think Babyface Nelson dies in 1934 too.
That's right. Yes, he does. Yeah. And his wife was on the shoot to kill list. He was the only one of the gang who had a wife and family.
Bonnie and Clyde die in 1934, I believe, too.
Yes, that's right. Most of the big name bank robbers of the 30s all died in 34.
Yeah. Okay, so Anna tells Purvis that her, Dillinger, and Polly sometimes go to the theater, and there's 2 theaters in Chicago that they would sometimes go to. I forget the names.
The Biograph and the Marlboro,
you're right, yeah. So she says that they're gonna go on the 22nd, and she would call Purvis and let him know which one they end up going to, and that she's gonna wear a bright orange outfit. That's how you'll know who she is. She's gonna have on a bright orange dress. So they have FBI agents staked out at the Biograph, and Purvis had a sign when he saw Dillinger, or who he thought was Dillinger. He was going to light a cigar, and then the agents should move in. But before that could happen, John Dillinger, or Jimmy Lawrence, kind of sees what's going on, and he takes off down an alleyway. And if you would like to let everyone know what happens then.
He got shot.
He got shot 3 times. He was shot.
Yeah, that's right. The FBI got their man.
Right. It is said that when one of the cops rolled him over, they said, "Oh my gosh, like that's some amazing." I mean, this is obviously not what they said in 1930s terms. They said, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing plastic surgery."
Well, Purvis himself said that does not look like Dillinger.
Yeah. So there was kind of a consensus of like, this does not look like our man. They kind of knew that beforehand, but I guess we'll kind of get into the coroner's report. So the FBI believes that Dillinger has moved to Chicago at this point. He's under the name Jimmy Lawrence. He's telling everyone that he's on the Chicago Board of Trade, and he had moved to Chicago to, leave his ex-wife or whatever. And this is not the first time that the FBI had mistaken someone for John Dillinger. Okay.
It happened twice, didn't it?
Yeah. And just like in everyday life, people were getting mistaken for him. Like, you have to understand, these were celebrities back then, okay?
Yes.
Celebrities. And so after Dillinger, Jimmy Lawrence, is killed in the alleyway, obviously you have to go to the coroner and there's an autopsy report. The autopsy report was lost and not found until the 1980s, which is a little wild. I mean, if you're trying to cover something up, do it, for 50 years.
Right.
Everyone by that time is dead, right?
Yes.
So there's, I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 real discrepancies in John Dillinger, Jimmy Lawrence, and who exactly that was at the Biograph.
Yes.
So in the coroner's report, the body appeared to be 33, but Dillinger just turned 31.
Yes.
The body was a little bit shorter and it weighed more, like 15 pounds.
Yeah, because that's something else about that, was that apparently the when they buried him, the suit was made to Dillinger's exact measurements, and it fit the body like a sack.
Right.
And what about the eye color?
Yeah, so there's also just conflicting reports about if the fingerprints match or if they don't match.
Mm-hmm.
And then the eye color. I know that's kind of your favorite part of this theory.
Yes, the man killed was dark-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
Dillinger, however, had light grayish blue eyes.
Right, so light and like gray that even in the black and white photos, like you can tell that he has really light eyes.
Yes.
And then I guess kind of the nail in the coffin is that the body had severe heart disease, a rheumatic heart. John Dillinger didn't have a record of this. Like, this heart disease was so bad that he could not have been the superb athlete that everyone says that he was.
Exactly. And not only that, but the man Dillinger was known to be missing an incisor. The man killed had all his teeth.
Right. So I mean, how do you can't just plastic surgery in a new tooth, not back then.
Yes, that's correct.
There was also, I read, signs of like a childhood illness, and it didn't really specify which one, but that the body had, maybe it was chickenpox, I don't know exactly, but had signs of a childhood illness that Dillinger was never said to have had, or that wasn't in his medical records.
Yes, and the sunglasses that were on the body were prescription lenses. And John Dillinger supposedly had 20/20 vision. And
the gun that was found on the body that the FBI had on display was just recently found out to like not have been manufactured until after he would have been killed.
That's correct.
So I guess everyone's probably saying, well, did the FBI make a mistake? Did they just hunt down this Jimmy Lawrence, and did Dillinger just get a get out of jail free card? Maybe. Or did he have help from the authorities, specifically Martin Zarkovich?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, crooked Indiana cop.
Exactly. Who is rumored to have been in cahoots with a lot of the mobsters at that time,
including Anna Sage.
Yes. He probably had to have had help escaping, don't you think? All the times he was
Definitely,
escaping,
definitely. That was
someone
too
had to
big.
tip him off.
It was too big of a task to have to do that, yes.
Right.
And it should also be noted that around this time, a man named James Lawrence did actually work for the Chicago Board of Trade, and who after that July night was never seen or heard from again.
Do you think, I mean, what's your theory? Do you think that the FBI killed the wrong man and then just had to cover it up?
Exactly.
Okay. Do you think they just did it on an accident, or they just wanted to?
I think Purvis was so publicity hungry that he was willing to, because Purvis apparently had a big ego.
Yeah.
I mean, he went on lecture tours after this, describing how it happened. However, this is another thing that I've always found highly suspicious. To this day, even the FBI does not know for sure who delivered the fatal shot.
I also looked at, and I know that you mentioned this as well, the autopsy photo. It just doesn't, and I know that, like, weird things can happen to your body, but I mean, after you're dead, but it just doesn't look like his face.
Well, I know that because cosmetic surgery can change many details, but it can't change head shape or bone structure.
I guess and also the ears are, I mean,
it also can't change the ears.
Yeah, they're just so different. I think it's worth noting too that when Dillinger's father went to go identify the body, he just said, like, that's not my son.
That's right.
The only way that Dillinger was positively identified was by his sister, who had also said that's not her brother. It wasn't until they were at the funeral home that the funeral director had her look at a scar on the back of this body's leg, and she said, okay, that might be John, because I don't know, he had a scar from a barbed wire fence from back in the day.
That's right.
So
Okay, so yes, and if anyone wants further proof, we're gonna have to jump back. We're gonna have to jump forward about 30 years, in that lodge in Wisconsin where Dillinger and his gang stayed that night. Because on the Little Bohemia, yes, because on the grounds of Little Bohemia Lodge, Emil Winitka, the original owner's son, Emil Winitka Jr., opened a museum dedicated to the Dillinger gang, because the gang had left all their belongings at the lodge. The letter was postmarked from California. Hold on a minute, I have to get this up here. Just bear with me.
you're fine. Is this on your place of work bucket list items?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Anyway, as I was saying, in 1963, Emil Winitka's son, Emil Winitka Jr., received a letter postmarked from California that was dated July 30th, 1963, and it reads as follows. Dear Sir, I'm sending you a letter and photo of Dillinger as he looks today for you to place on display in your museum. The man shot was James Lawrence, who told the woman in red, Anna Campana, that he was Dillinger. J. Hoover stated there is every indication that the man shot is Dillinger, except the proof. It is customary to send into headquarters the fingerprints of every man shot by the FBI, but no fingerprints of Dillinger have come in spite of regulation burial. The fingerprints were taken of the man shot, but they did not match those of Dillinger. Therefore, they were not sent in, because if they were, the FBI would have to admit the wrong man was killed. Dillinger's sister, Audrey, said she could positively identify her brother by a scar on his leg. After viewing the body, she said, there is no question in my mind. Bury him. But what she was really looking for was a birthmark, which was not there. But naturally, by saying this, she protected both Dillinger and the FBI. The man shot had black hair and brown eyes, and weighed 170 pounds. Too large for Dillinger. Yours sincerely, John H. Dillinger. And so, yes.
Was there a picture? Was there a picture in that letter?
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. And it was a man who did some man who I think,
What about the nickname? Wasn't there a
yes, and later on, and I can't remember the source of where I found this, and it's driving me absolutely insane.
it's okay.
But years later, there a lady in Indiana who went to school with John Dillinger's half sister after his father remarried. He and his second wife had a few more children. This lady who went to school with John Dillinger's sister said that John Dillinger used to drive her and his sister to school. And John Dillinger had a specific nickname for this woman. Well, anyway, this woman's father was a police officer. And when he died, the lady received a handwritten letter postmarked from California that read, "Dear Dillinger's nickname for this woman. I'm sorry to hear about your dad. He was all right for a cop."
So you think he ended up in California?
Yes, I do. And that's also why I wanted to reach out onto this, because maybe someone listening to this has some information that no one else has. And I was hoping that maybe if anyone has further proof, they could possibly send it to bowtietalkspodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that's bowtietalkspodcast@gmail.com.
And we are setting up an Instagram and a Facebook page. So
that is correct. That is correct. So yes, please send any information you have that could possibly bring more light to this theory. Please send it to that email address, because I'd love to do a follow-up episode.
I did some, like the ancestry stuff that I really like.
Yes.
Just to see if this Dillinger name lived on. And
yes.
I believe that I think there was a little brother. I think it was two sisters and a brother younger.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but like John Dillinger didn't have any kids that we know of. So
yes.
This that sect of the Dillinger name did not live on.
That's right. Sadly, they did not.
I don't know though. I think it'd be kind of cool to be able to say your uncle was your great uncle was a bank robber.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. But one thing I would like to cover in regards to Little Bohemia, it might not have been as coincidental that Dillinger and his mom went to that specific location that night.
Mm-hmm.
Because supposedly, according to the book I read, Emil Winotka had connections to the Chicago Underground.
Mm-hmm.
And he was known to take in fugitives.
I think I read something about that too. Like a place, because they're like, a place that you would bring someone when they got shot, or like the mob, because you can't go to the regular hospital,
That's right.
Yeah. Well, who knows? This has been a great conversation. I got to go put some kiddos to bed, but
once again, this has been Bowtie Talks. Thank you, marvelous human beings, for once again tuning in. I'll be back next week. Thank you and good night.